Phoenix, a city of endless sunshine, wealth, and opportunity, or so they say. But beneath the glittering skyline, an invisible crisis is spiraling out of control. Families sleeping in cars, people digging through dumpsters for their next meal, tunnels beneath the city, packed with those who have nowhere else to go. This isn't just homelessness, it's survival in its rawest form. And what you're about to see will change the way you think forever. Welcome to Globe Path Travel Documentary. Phoenix, a city of dazzling lights and limitless dreams. But beneath the towering skyscrapers and sprawling highways lies a hidden world, one that most never see or choose to ignore. Here, sidewalks become bedrooms. Tunnels beneath the city transform into homes. Every meal is uncertain, and survival is a daily battle against scorching heat, hunger, and isolation. This is homelessness in America, worse than you ever imagined. What led to this crisis? Who are the people living in the shadows? And what can be done to stop the surge? Join us as we uncover the real story behind Phoenix's homelessness explosion, a reality far more shocking than statistics alone can reveal. A city of sharp contrasts. Phoenix is a city of extremes where wealth and suffering exist side by side, yet only one is acknowledged. Towering skyscrapers and luxury condos define prosperity, while just beyond the glittering skyline, thousands struggle to survive on its streets. In 2025, homelessness surged by 500 people, bringing the total to 14,737 individuals, with nearly 50% living unsheltered. The city's largest homeless encampment, The Zone, was forcibly cleared in 2023, scattering its residents into drainage tunnels, abandoned buildings, and makeshift shelters. But clearing the streets didn't solve the crisis. It only pushed it further into the shadows. Families who once had stable homes now sleep in their cars, parked in gas stations and Walmart lots, hoping to avoid police sweeps. The divide between wealth and poverty has never been more stark. Public spaces are designed to erase the homeless from view rather than provide solutions. Benches are built with metal dividers to prevent people from sleeping on them. Businesses install spikes on sidewalks to keep the homeless from resting near storefronts. Public bathrooms require access codes, effectively locking out those who need them most. The city's response has been to make homelessness invisible, rather than addressing the root causes. Homelessness in Phoenix isn't just about poverty, it's about a system that has abandoned thousands. Mental health services are severely underfunded, leaving many untreated and vulnerable. Affordable housing projects are delayed, while luxury developments continue at full speed. Emergency shelters are overcrowded, forcing people to sleep in dangerous conditions. Despite efforts to expand shelter capacity, the crisis continues to escalate. The city has invested millions into temporary housing solutions, yet the number of unsheltered individuals remains alarmingly high. Phoenix is a city of sharp contrasts, where prosperity thrives but suffering is ignored. The homeless are not just statistics, they are people, abandoned by a system that was supposed to protect them. And as the city moves forward, they are left behind, fading into the background, unseen and unheard. The housing crisis. In 2025, Phoenix's housing crisis has reached unprecedented levels, pushing thousands into homelessness as rent prices continue to soar. The median rent has surged to $1,800, making it nearly impossible for minimum wage earners to afford stable housing. Even those with full-time jobs find themselves unable to keep up with rising costs, forcing them into overcrowded shelters, temporary motels, or even their own vehicles. Families who once had homes now sleep in parking lots, their cars serving as their only form of protection against the elements and crime. The city's housing market has become increasingly hostile to lower-income residents, with developers prioritizing luxury apartments over affordable housing. Despite a 39% increase in inventory, the available homes remain out of reach for those struggling financially. Many renters face evictions at record rates, unable to keep up with the rising costs. The dream of homeownership is slipping further away as property values continue to climb, leaving even middle-class families unable to secure a place to live. Shelters are overcrowded and underfunded, forcing people to sleep in unsafe conditions or seek refuge in abandoned buildings. Some have turned to storm drains and underground tunnels, desperate for any form of shelter. The city's response has been slow and ineffective, with temporary solutions failing to address the root causes of the crisis. For many, the American dream has turned into a nightmare, where survival is the only priority. The housing crisis is no longer just about affordability, it is about human dignity, systemic failure, and a city that is struggling to protect its most vulnerable. This expanded version integrates 2025 data and real policies. Mental health and addiction, homelessness and mental health are deeply intertwined, creating a cycle that is nearly impossible to escape without proper intervention. In 2025, opioid addiction surged across Arizona, with overdose rates climbing by 17%, further exacerbating the crisis. Many individuals experiencing homelessness suffer from untreated schizophrenia, PTSD, and severe depression. Yet access to therapy and medication remains out of reach. The lack of mental health services has turned the streets into an open-air asylum, where people battle their own minds without support. For many, addiction is not a choice. It is a consequence of trauma, poverty, and systemic neglect. Without stable housing, recovery becomes nearly impossible, as individuals are forced to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol just to numb the pain of their reality. The streets of Phoenix have become a battleground where people fight against addiction, hunger, and the elements all at once. The city's response has been slow and ineffective, with mental health programs underfunded and rehabilitation centers overwhelmed. Emergency shelters often turn away those struggling with addiction, leaving them with nowhere to go. Instead of receiving treatment, many end up incarcerated or left to die on the streets, their conditions worsening with each passing day. These individuals are not criminals or failures. They are people abandoned by the system, left to navigate a world that refuses to acknowledge their suffering. The crisis is not just about homelessness. It is about a society that has failed to provide the most basic human necessities: care, dignity, and hope. A harsh reality: life on the streets. Life on the streets of Phoenix is a relentless battle against heat, hunger, and isolation. The city's homelessness crisis has reached alarming levels, with nearly 14,737 individuals struggling to survive without stable housing. For those living unsheltered, every day is a fight to find food, water, and a safe place to rest. Phoenix's scorching temperatures make survival even more brutal. In the summer months, the heat can soar past 110 degrees Fahrenheit, turning the streets into a furnace. Dehydration is a constant threat, killing more people than starvation. Many homeless individuals walk miles just to find a public water fountain, while others rely on discarded bottles left behind in trash bins. Food insecurity is another harsh reality. With limited access to shelters and food banks, many are forced to dig through dumpsters, hoping to find scraps that haven't spoiled. Restaurants and grocery stores throw away tons of edible food daily, yet laws prevent people from accessing it. Some homeless individuals wait outside fast food chains, hoping for leftovers, while others rely on strangers' kindness for a meal. Safety is never guaranteed. The streets are unpredictable, filled with violence, theft, and desperation. Many homeless individuals sleep with one eye open, fearing attacks or police sweeps that force them to relocate. Some find shelter in abandoned buildings or drainage tunnels, but these places come with their own dangers: disease, flooding, and crime. Despite the suffering, Phoenix's homeless population remains largely ignored by society. As the wealthy enjoy their morning coffee in air-conditioned cafes, thousands outside struggle to find a sip of clean water. The divide between privilege and poverty has never been more stark. The mole people of Phoenix, beneath the bustling streets of Phoenix, hidden from the world above, lies a forgotten population, the mole people. These individuals, forced into underground storm drains and abandoned tunnels, seek refuge from the scorching heat, police crackdowns, and the dangers of street life. For them, the tunnels offer a twisted form of safety, shielding them from the relentless cycle of displacement and violence that plagues the homeless community above ground. These tunnels are pitch black, filled with rats, disease, and suffocating humidity. The air is thick with the stench of decay, and the walls are lined with remnants of lives reduced to survival. Some have carved out makeshift shelters using scraps of wood and discarded blankets, creating temporary homes in the depths of the city's infrastructure. Others move constantly, fearing floods or unexpected raids that could wipe out everything they own. The mole people are not criminals or outcasts by choice. They are victims of a system that has failed them. Many were once employed, housed, and part of society, but rising rent, job losses, and untreated mental health conditions pushed them into homelessness. With shelters overcrowded and public spaces hostile to their presence, the tunnels became their last resort. Above ground, Phoenix continues to thrive, with luxury developments rising and businesses booming. Yet beneath the surface, an invisible crisis unfolds. The city's response has been to erase homelessness from sight, forcing people into places where no one will see them. But just because they are hidden does not mean they do not exist. This is the reality of homelessness in Phoenix. People disappearing into the darkness, forgotten by the world that moves on without them. Stigma and society's perception. Homelessness is often met with disgust, avoidance, and systemic exclusion, rather than compassion or solutions. In Phoenix, the city's infrastructure is designed to push the homeless out of sight, reinforcing the idea that they are a nuisance rather than individuals in crisis. Benches are built with metal dividers, preventing people from lying down. Businesses install spikes on sidewalks, ensuring that no one can rest near storefronts. Public bathrooms require access codes, effectively locking out those who need them most. These measures don't solve homelessness. They simply make it less visible to the general public. Yet the reality of homelessness is far more complex than the stereotypes suggest. A 2025 study revealed that 60% of the homeless population had full-time jobs before losing their homes. Many were once stable members of society, working in restaurants, retail stores, and offices, until rising rent, medical emergencies, or job losses forced them onto the streets. The economy has become unforgiving, where a single financial setback can mean the difference between stability and survival. For those experiencing homelessness, the stigma is relentless. They are ignored, judged, and criminalized, often treated as if their suffering is a personal failure rather than a systemic issue. Many struggle with mental health conditions, addiction, or disabilities, yet resources remain scarce. Shelters are overcrowded, affordable housing is out of reach, and government assistance is insufficient. Phoenix's homeless crisis is not just about poverty. It is about a society that has abandoned its most vulnerable. The people living on the streets are not lazy or irresponsible. They are victims of an economic system that has failed them, left to navigate a world that refuses to acknowledge their suffering. Struggling for survival. Daily life. Life on the streets of Phoenix is a relentless battle against hunger, exhaustion, and the elements. Each day is unpredictable. There is no certainty of food, shelter, or safety. The homeless wake up with one question: Where will the next meal come from? Some rely on shelters, but overcrowding means many are turned away. Others dig through dumpsters, hoping to find scraps before the garbage trucks arrive. Shelter is another daily struggle. With 50% of Phoenix's homeless population living unsheltered, many have no choice but to sleep on sidewalks, under bridges, or in abandoned buildings. Sleeping on concrete wears the body down. Spines bend, joints swell, infections spread. The lack of medical care means even minor injuries can become life-threatening. During the scorching summer months, heat stroke and dehydration claim lives. With temperatures soaring past 110 degrees Fahrenheit, access to clean water becomes a matter of survival. Some walk miles just to find a public fountain, while others rely on discarded bottles left behind by pedestrians. For many, plastic sheets become blankets. Cardboard becomes beds. The streets offer no comfort, only the harsh reality of survival. As Phoenix thrives with booming businesses and luxury developments, thousands remain invisible, struggling to make it through another day. Healthcare, a crisis that won't go away. Access to healthcare for Phoenix's homeless population is virtually non-existent, turning treatable conditions into life-threatening emergencies. In 2025, 550,000 people in Arizona lost Medicaid coverage, cutting off their access to essential medical care. For those living on the streets, even a minor infection can spiral into a deadly illness, as hospitals routinely turn them away without insurance. The reality is brutal. Heat stroke, untreated diabetes, infected wounds, and respiratory illnesses plague the homeless community, yet most have no way to seek treatment. Emergency rooms are often their last resort, but without coverage, they are discharged without proper care. Many self-medicate with whatever they can find, leading to worsening health conditions and increased addiction rates. Phoenix's healthcare system is overwhelmed and underfunded, with shelters unable to provide adequate medical assistance. While some organizations, like Circle the City, offer mobile medical units to treat wounds and illnesses, the demand far exceeds the available resources. The city's response has been slow and ineffective, leaving thousands to suffer without intervention. Homelessness is not just about lacking shelter. It is about being abandoned by a system that refuses to acknowledge their suffering. Without access to health care, they are not just living without homes. They are dying without help. A glimmer of light, community compassion in action. Even in the depths of crisis, hope persists. Across Phoenix, volunteers, nonprofits, and advocacy groups work tirelessly to provide food, shelter, and health care to those who have been abandoned by the system. While homelessness continues to rise, so does human compassion, proving that change is possible. In 2025, a 4,000% increase in online searches for homelessness aid revealed a growing public awareness of the crisis. More people than ever are looking for ways to help, whether through donations, volunteer work, or policy advocacy. Organizations like Phoenix Rescue Mission and Circle the City have expanded their outreach, offering mobile medical units, meal programs, and transitional housing to those in need. Despite limited resources, community-driven efforts have made a tangible impact. Local businesses have started initiatives to provide job training for homeless individuals, while grassroots movements push for policy changes that prioritize affordable housing and mental health services. The fight is far from over, but the growing wave of compassion proves that people still care. Homelessness is not just a statistic, it is a human crisis. And while the system may fail, human kindness remains the one force capable of change. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Phoenix's homelessness crisis, a reality far more devastating than most realize. Every statistic represents a real person, a real struggle, a real fight for survival. But awareness is just the beginning. Change starts with you. If this documentary moved you, if you believe these stories need to be told, then help us reach more people by subscribing to Globe Path Travel Documentary. By subscribing, you're not just watching, you're becoming part of a mission to expose the truth, challenge injustice, and spark real conversations that can lead to solutions. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us in spreading awareness. Because these voices deserve to be heard. Together, we can make a difference.